Hi guys, you're welcome to Cardbond and this is Ola. This is the third in the series for the Fusion 360 beginner exercises, and there's going to be a little bit of changes or adjustments to the way these videos are presented to you. And that simply means I will not be creating scribbles on my screen anymore. Due to the fact that I am quite occupied and do not have the time to create all of the necessary edits and modifications. But however, there is going to be a card to the top right corner of your screen, taking you to where you could download the PDF or image to be used in this exercise. And at this point, we jump right into this exercise tutorial. Alright, so I'm guessing that you probably already have the exercise with you. And for us to proceed, you notice that you have a sectional view at the bottom of the drawing page. And so our first assignment or activity is going to be to try to create the sectional view. And also, since the object seems to be like a circular one, it means that what we need to do is to use the revolve feature. So let's just jump right in. I do not have the opportunity right now to show you with maybe a pen where I'm taking the dimensions from, but I guess you'll be able to figure it out. So starting on the front plane, I will just try to draw something that is a little bit rough, but clearly represents or gives you an idea of what I'm trying to create. One thing you should know that is with Fusion 360, when you're using the line tool like here, we are able to transfer or transit from a line to an arc. And for us to do that, the arc is always going to be a tangential arc. And in this case, what I'll just do is to go back to my line. And then I'll try to draw something from here coming down. Then I'll hold on to my control on the keyboard, right click and hold on to the mouse button. Then I just draw something this way. So what it does is that it creates a tangential line or an arc that's tangential to the previous line created. Obviously, this is not what we need, but I guess we'll just leave it this way. So I'll just try to draw the rest of all of the things that are required. Draw something this way. I draw something also that comes up this way. I'll say check or control and try to draw an arc this way. Then I continue. Alright. I would need to do something in this manner. I'm not enjoying the check confirmation mark that keeps on showing. This is largely incoherent with what we have on the drawing board, but when we place our constraints, everything begins to make sense. So firstly, I create a coincidence between these 2 points. Yep. I create a tangential constraint between this and this. Alright, so there's something here. Delete. Coincidence between these two. Tangent between this and this. So now it's beginning to make sense. I convert this into an horizontal line. I make these two collinear. And let's see, I guess that's all. The next thing will be to place our dimensions. But before that, I'll create a line. So it's supposed to be a construction line, or let's say a center line. So I'll create one from this point going upwards here. Alright, back to our dimensions. The diameter for this surface in this manner is supposed to be 45. So I'll do this. Then I'll also place diameter for this and this surface. This is supposed to be 40. All right. Okay, good. I can drag this downward a little. All right. The thickness of this to this is supposed to be 6. So I'll say 6. Let's drag this sideways here. And then we have this also. The diameter of this is 75. All right. This is 8. Okay. This, so the topmost top is supposed to be 71. This is going to disrupt a lot of things. Yep. So I'll just go back. What I'll rather do is going to be the distance between this point and this point, which is 32. The distance between this point and this point is 3. The distance between, let's see, this line, this point and this point should be 8. So for us to do that properly, I'll drag this down first so that the whole thing doesn't get warped. So I'll say this is 8. No. Alright, that's still messing up. So I'll go back again. The constraints are always very annoying. So what I'll do is I'll just place a coincident constraint between this and this line. So that line now that is black is fully defined and can no longer move. So this again, I'll change it back to 8. Yeah. So now everything is moving or adjusting itself in relation to this one. I'll bring this downwards a little. These 2 points should be vertical to each other. Control Z. So that's not what I want. So I'll just drag it sideways. And let's see, I'll place concentric between this and this. Yes. Alright. The distance between this point and this line should be of diameter 87. It's going to over constrain. It's not going to over constrain. What the heck is going on? This software sometimes can be very miserable. So I'll place it with this bottom one and call it 87. What and why is it being over constrained? I have no idea. I guess I'm going to delete this. Yeah. So let's see what this does for us now. This and this. Okay. So this is 87. The problem was I'd already placed a concentric constraint there, and so it's kind of limiting the changes that were possible. The radius of this is 28. Right, the overall length or distance of this is 71. There's too many messed up stuff here. Well, in the long run, the main thing is we just keep on modifying the sketch till we have what we intend to have. So I feel like I'm a little bit confused. So this should be concentric to this. Okay, and then I would say I drag this upwards. and the offset between these two should be 4. Between this and this is 4. Next up, I will bring this closer to what we have. Sometimes it gets a little bit tricky, and I think it's something that Fusion 360, you guys have to fix this thing. The software sometimes gets some quite annoying bugs, and I do not know why, but they need to do something about it. Alright, so I'll just try to find a way to get these dimensions in place. The size of this line, okay, let's see how it should be done. It's again between this and this. Between that and that should be, let's see, okay, that's fixed. Between this and this line should be 151. There's a lot of things going on here that I messed up, and not so sure how to rectify those. Between this and this shouldn't be 143 but 146, so it's kind of confusing the way these things are working. Alright, so 146, okay, between this and this now, let me see, should be 87. So if you do notice, it seems like the dimensions are a little bit messed up, but there's nothing to worry about. This between this line and this line now should be 157. Between this line and this line then should be 162. Alright. Then we have the overall distance of this to be 15. It seems like I'm understanding what I'm doing right now. Sorry, not 15, this should be 8. And then let's take this upwards. The distance between that and this line should be 4. Alright. And let's see. That's 8 and that's 4. The overall distance now between this and this top point here should be 71. I hope it works this time around. It's still over defined, which is quite crazy, and I'm guessing it's going to be this particular part here, so I'll delete this and change this to 71. Yeah, so it's kind of confusing the way these things work, to be honest. I don't know why, but it kind of works in some strange manner. So this should be 28 and not 28.011, but we'll leave it at this. Alright, so at this point we have a lot of confusing dimensions on the screen, but I'll try to, well, anyway, since you followed along with me, you should be able to see all the things that I've done. So in my case, I'll just simply try to arrange this because I always prefer that everything looks nice and spicy. Alright. This dimension should be here and visible. This 8 should be here and here. I think now we are fine. I finish the sketch and come over here to Revolve. Since we have just a single profile, the software automatically selects it for us. And then the axis to be used is this axis. We want it to go 360 degrees, a new body, and then say OK. Alright, so with the first part of this done, the next thing, if we see on the 3D model, we have some things that somewhat look like ribs. They can be found also on the plan view, and they're 4 in number with a thickness of 5. So what we'll do is I go over to origin, I create a new sketch on one of these planes that's going this way, and yep, zoom in. My task right now is going to be to create a mesh in this point that comes like a rib here. So what I'll do is, for me, I'll change my visibility first of all to with hidden edges, because I want to be able to see what's going on inside. Just a little bit. So I'll begin to draw my part now. I don't like this view. Visual style, shaded with hidden edges. So I draw something that comes this way. Create a little bit of distance going in, up this way again, and up to this point. Alright, this view doesn't seem to be doing justice, so I'll take it back to shaded, and what I'll do is I'll place inspect section analysis, and I want it to be this plane. I'll say okay. So this is what I'm doing. So I want this particular profile I'm creating right now to intersect into this particular, into the object just a little bit. And with that, I'll place my constraints. This should be horizontal. And the overall distance of this as obtained on our drawing should be 16 millimeters for this. Alright, and also let's see, yeah, that's 16 millimeters. We also want this to this point to be 16. No, we want it to be 87 divided by 2 over 2. Alright, and I want this particular, let's see, I want this particular point to intersect with this line. So what we'll do is I would say create, go to project, include and intersect. By rotating, I would select on this surface here to be my intersection surface. I would also try to use this surface here also. So I'll say okay. And what we have is that we have lines that are created here for the intersection point. I change them to construction, and I just place the, let's say, I place constraints like this collinear between this line and this line, and then I also place coincidence between this line and this point. Alright, the next thing is I will just drag this inwards somewhere within, but not to exceed the surface here. With that, I finish my sketch. I go over to extrude, click on this, and we have it to be symmetric, the overall length, while the thickness is 5 millimeters, and I would say join and okay. So right now what we have is something that looks like this. Let's see, analysis switched off. So it looks like this. Alright, so with that, the next thing for us to do is to create the holes we see on this particular face here. If we take a look at it from the top view, we notice that the holes are not in alignment with this rib. So it's going to be at an angle. And so what we're going to do is I'll create a new sketch on this particular plane. And for that, I would say I'll just draw a line, construction line that comes this way, which is going to be where our hole will be situated. The angle for this line is obviously, let's see, obviously it's going to be 45 degrees. So I would say this 45, while the overall distance between two lines or 2 points is 64, so this is going to be 32. All right, good. With this, I would say finish sketch. I'll come over to the isometric view and I'll place a hole. So, and where I want to place it is going to be on this point, so I do it this way. If we take a look at the dimensions of the drawing, it shows that the specification for the hole is an M7 hole. So I'm going to try to look for where I have the M7. This is taped clearance full, and we have it going all the way, and this should be M7. So I change this to 7 millimeters by 1 and say okay. Now we have our hole. Next we have a little bit of a feature that seems to be extruding or coming out of the sides of this stuff. So I'll go back to my analysis view, and the approach to take in creating this is going to be, my first step would be to create an offset plane. So I would say offset plane from this point and going downwards by 7 millimeters. So I'm getting this dimension right now from the sectional view, where we have a thickness of 7 diameters. It's placed at the right hand corner, so you should be able to see it there. Then I'll draw a new sketch on this plane, and the sketch is going to look like this. Let's see. It's going to be 2 circles basically, 1, 2, and the rectangle. So the rectangle comes from here and goes this way. So what we'll do is we'll place our dimensions and constraints. This is tangential to this. The overall dimension for these circles, this one is 10 in radius, so the diameter should be 20. This one is 7 in diameter. We want these two also to be tangential, so that's fine. And then coincident, I do not want coincident, so what I want is for these two lines to be symmetrical. So I say constraint symmetry 1, 2, and this axis. Yep. Next we have the overall dimensions or distance, which can be found on the top plane or the top view. The overall thickness or distance of this is 173, so I'll say divided by 2. And so we have this. Now this brings us to the next part of this work, which is a little bit tricky. The thing is that this particular part is not fully explained or defined. However, the only thing we know is that it doesn't come out of this part here. We cannot find it extruding in this manner. So what we want is we're just going to place it somewhere that ensures it cuts through our object, and at the same time it doesn't extrude. It doesn't come out of this surface. It's a little bit weird, but that's just what it is about. So I'll just move it a little bit this way and I'll say finish sketch. I create my extrusion 1, 2, and 3, I take it up and start here, direction here, extend to object. I want it to stop at this face. I want it to be join and not cut, and I also want it to be adjacent. Alright, so I'll use this and say okay. Good, and voila. So if I remove the analysis, we have something like this, which is quite very similar to what we have on the top, on the isometric view. The next thing for us to do, which is the last step, would be for us to create multiple patterns or multiple instances of these new features we've created. I want us to always remember that the main goal of all of this is, as I've said in previous videos, we will try to make or have as little as possible for external features here. So that's actually the main goal. So what I'll do is I'll go over to create. I would say pattern. I'll say circular pattern. I want to pattern features, and the features are this extrusion, then this hole, and also this extrusion here. I want to pattern the features around the default axis, y-axis. And from our drawings, we know that the pattern is done in 4 instances. And I would say okay. Alright, so with this I can set the origin to be invisible, and what we have is what we can see on our screen. It's just as good as what we have on our drawing, and now the procedure is a little bit shorter because I'm no longer showing or writing on my screen, but I guess that you get the idea, and then you understand all that we've done so far. So if you have more things that you might want to ask, maybe you're not clear about something, so you want just to make some clarifications, do not hesitate to place comments in the comment section. I'll be very much happy to respond to you if I know what you're talking about. I'm not really a guru, so I try my best to respond to you. And if you like this video, do not forget to click on the like button, hit on the notification bell if you'd like to see more, and that would only be possible if you are subscribed to this channel. Alright guys, so thank you for sticking with me to the very end, and I hope to see you again in the next video.